I'll add names for ease of reading. My ex-fiancé and I, Clarice, were together for about 8 years, from when we were 25 to when we were 33. Things were very serious between us. I was sure she was the one I would be for the rest of my life. The love I felt for her was unreal. She completed me. She was my life partner. When we both got together, we were both in the midst of very busy careers. We both decided that we don't want kids if we ever should get married. Don't have the time, don't have the interest. We were eye to eye on that. Around the time I turned 30, something changed in me. I started wanting kids. It was a massive 180 on my prior position. I had been certain I'm not that kind of guy. I don't want to be bogged down changing nappies and driving kids to school for the rest of my life. I wanted a sports car, a nice home entertainment system, etc. It was like I was becoming a different person. I wanted to have children. I wanted to be a father. I wanted to have a big family. All that stuff I had hated before, I know felt like I wanted to do. Driving kids to school, etc. Sports cars and TVs didn't interest me anymore. At this point I was engaged to Clarice. She was the woman I loved, the woman I felt I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. I knew she was perfect for starting a family with. She was the same age as me. She was smart, beautiful. Her body was in great health. We had so many things in common. I could make her laugh. She made me smile. I talked it out with her. I told her how I was feeling. I told her I wanted to have kids. At this point in our relationship we were engaged and planning marriage. Well, she didn't want to have kids. She was the same woman she was at 25. She told me she wanted to focus on just the two of us, our careers, and she didn't want to throw away her energy, money, youth, and devastate her body to have children, especially when she didn't want to. She said that we'd have to wait another 18 years for our life to really begin if we had kids. I understood, and at the time I made a terrible decision. I thought I'd stay it out with her. I hoped deep inside me she'd change her mind. I was certain that this woman would eventually want to be the mother of my children. Well, that never came, and what's more, I felt my love for her start to disappear. I started not seeing the youthful, cheery woman I fell in love with. It was like her face was changing and her body was changing. I was no longer attracted to her. She was not beautiful to me anymore. I felt we didn't have a future together and I wouldn't be happy spending my life with her, since now we wanted different things. She was no longer the fun-loving Clarice that I knew when we were 25. She was now this foreign woman, almost old-looking, who was obsessed with work and career. As shallow as this sounds, she was no longer as attractive physically either. Her face was not as pretty. Her body had gotten fatter. She had gained weight. She no longer had the thin, curvy body that I knew once. I know this sounds incredibly shallow, but these things are important. Physical attraction is important to a relationship, and I was feeling less physically attracted to her. I talked this out with her, focusing mainly on the not wanting to have children part, and less on the physical attraction part. There were many tears, but ultimately she understood. The bottom line was, despite 8 years of love and a solid relationship, I wanted kids and she didn't. We could not have a family together where we were both happy since we both wanted fundamentally different things. We broke up, but we stayed in contact, still as friends. I felt the love I had for her was still there a bit, especially after we had been so close for so long, but it was nowhere near as strong and constantly evaporating. About 6 months after we broke up, I met a new girl, who I'll call Julie. Julie was much younger than me. She was 22 when I met her, basically just a kid from my standpoint. I met her at a function at work. She works in a completely different department than me. So while I'd probably seen her face around the building a few times before in passing, this was the first time I'd properly met her. And what can I say? She was absolutely gorgeous, stunning, one of the most beautiful women I've ever met. I thought she'd see me as this weird old guy, but we really hit it off and became good friends. And before I knew it, we were dating. Now she's 23 years old. And even though there's 12 years difference between us, I haven't been this happy in a long time. I'll say a bit more about Julie. As I stated, she's incredibly beautiful. One of the most beautiful women I've met. She's energetic, enthusiastic, incredibly fun-loving. She's way more happy and cheerful than Clarice was, and less serious and work-oriented as well. Our relationship moved at lightning speed. I was hesitant at first, but I just went with it because I was having so much fun. She made me feel like a teenager again, just giddy, excited, and in love. Before I knew it, she had moved in with me. And yes, I've discussed marriage with her, and children. I haven't proposed or anything like that, but I know she's said clearly she does want to be married and have children. And yes, she'd be okay doing that with me. I discussed marriage briefly with her and asked her if she could see a marriage with children between us on the horizon, maybe in the next 2 years. And she said yes, without a doubt. Now here's where things get very sticky. Clarice came back into my life. I talk with her very rarely on and off now and again. On Facebook, we're just friends. She knows about me and Julie. Julie knows about her. She knows we are just friends. Clarice told me she has been feeling lonely and been wondering about what she wants in life. She's had a few small relationships since her and I broke up. Then she dropped the bomb on me. She wants to get back together with me and have children. She's still quite young, 35, so she's got it in her to have children. She wanted to get back together, resume our relationship, get married, have kids, start a family. Everything I ever wanted from her 2 years ago. She was offering me freely now and putting it on the table. I told her I was in a new relationship, but she told me she was under the impression it's not that serious, and nothing like what I had with her. I suppose she's right from a certain point of view. If she had told me this 2 years ago before we broke up, I would have been thrilled. I feel like now too much time has passed, and the ship has sailed. I'm not sure what to do. I want to be fair to Julie as well. I'm so happy with Julie right now, happier than I've been in a very long time. I don't want to break up with her just because an old ex came back into the picture. But with Julie, I don't know for certain if marriage and kids is on the horizon, but I know that it's incredibly likely from what she's told me. I'm considering proposing to her even, to speed things up. However, if I throw out my relationship with Julie, I can be back with Clarice and have everything I ever wanted. Then there's the question of who would I rather be with as a person, Clarice or Julie. Clarice is much more similar to me. She's 35, the same age as me. We've known each other for so long, and we have so much more in common. Julie is about 12 years younger than me, and even though I love her and feel so happy together with her, I always wonder if the age gap might make us less mentally and emotionally compatible in a marriage, where we are both raising kids together and raising a family together. Then there's the elephant in the room, which again, I don't want to sound shallow, but is a major factor. Julie, while much younger than Clarice, is incredibly more attractive to me. Clarice was also very attractive when we were younger, but now that she's gotten older, she's not as attractive and her looks have somewhat slightly faded. I know it happens to everyone, but if I had to choose one I find more attractive, it's Julie. Again, I really don't want to sound shallow, but physical attraction to me is very important in a relationship. First of all, I plan to be very open and honest with Julie, whatever my intentions. I will tell her what happened with Clarice contacting me, and I will tell her my feelings and intentions on the issue, no matter what I decide, because I want to be open and honest. So I know I've bombarded you all with a lot of information. My question is on how to handle the situation, and what I should do from here. Any advice on how to handle the situation, how I should proceed, and any advice on which relationship I should continue with, Clarice or Julie, would be greatly appreciated.